Thanks, Kristen. Minute past the hour now. The family of a man shot in his own backyard by APD officers has now reached a $6 million settlement with the department in the city. 27-year-old Christopher Torres suffered from schizophrenia. 4 years ago, undercover APD officers were trying to track him down in a road rage case, and they shot him in the backyard of his family's West Side home in 2011. The Torres family won a wrongful death lawsuit in state court, but under state law, that payout was capped at $400,000. In this case, it's a $6 million payout to avoid a trial in federal court.
This was never about money. We achieved what we wanted, what we set out to do. Christopher was not the one at fault from the start. It was all about vindicating Christopher's name.
In the state lawsuit, a judge found that there's no evidence Torres grabbed a gun from a detective's holster or threatened a detective, as the officers claim. Those officers were not charged in this case.
We now know more about that deadly stabbing that happened in southwest Albuquerque early yesterday morning. Police say Joseph Valverde admitted to stabbing his 18-year-old sister, Maylene Ibarra. Valverde apparently told police he stabbed his sister because she kept yelling at him and didn't like him. The 21-year-old has mental health problems and has had problems in the past. We turn now to this. It was just last week APD responded to a similar situation. Police say Douglas Brown went to his 64-year-old sister's house near Candelaria in Louisiana, stabbed her to death, then tried to set the home on fire. Brown then went to his house about 2 miles away and shot and killed his 87-year-old father, then set that house on fire, then killed himself. Brown's family did mention some erratic behavior prior to that, but there was no history of mental illness. Police are still trying to determine what made him snap.
Police in Albuquerque are looking for a man in connection with the brutal murder of another man. Police say the killing was over $20 worth of heroin. And Tavio Cox and Dwayne Yazzie allegedly killed David Gonzalez at a home on Ortiz last week after he used the drug but never paid them for it. APD says Gonzalez was found tied up and beaten. They say Cox and Yazzie then took off in his car. Meantime, investigators are a step closer to solving a 24-year-old cold case in Farmington. In 1991, 52-year-old Patsy Taylor was killed during a morning run. Police say someone beat her with a metal object. Her daughter recently made a video sharing her mother's story, which aired on News 13. And days later, police got a tip. They're not releasing details right now, but they are encouraging that person to come forward for follow-up questions.
It was an emotional day for the family of Brittany Johnson as they remembered her during a memorial service. The 24-year-old was missing for nearly a week when Bernalillo County Sheriff's deputies found her body at the bottom of a cliff in the Sandia Mountains. Investigators think her death was an accident. Her father said she saw happiness and beauty in everything.
She was a rare spirit, one of the happiest people most of us will ever know. One of her favorite things to do was day hike, connecting and to and embracing nature.
The family also thanked the rescue teams who helped look for Brittany. We turn now to this. You've heard the saying, right? One man's treasure, or one man's trash rather, is another man's treasure. Well, 2 New Mexico women are turning their trash into works of art.
It's art that's making waves at one market every Sunday. News 13's Catherine Mazzone found out, though, that art is also a lifestyle. Right, Catherine?
That's right, Adam. These women don't just use a couple of pieces of trash from their garbage to create their masterpieces. They are zero waste consumers. That means they don't throw anything away.
All the stuff that generally people would throw away or hopefully take to the recycle center, we are repurposing into art and beautiful things.
Autumn Pearson and Michelle Court-Leche work together to make art with these materials. It's all sorted by color or material, and it's everything from cans and cardboard to eggshells. Pearson says they don't just use recyclable materials, they also use organic ones like onion skins, tea, coffee, and potato peels. This all began when Pearson saved her trash for 81 days. She said she liked it so much she wanted to live that way. Now it's turned into very unique art.
As an artist, you have to think about what's going to set you aside from someone else or make you different. And thinking about sustainability and being a conscious consumer, I was thinking, well, we're going to the recycle center all the time. What if we challenge ourselves to not throw anything away at all?
Now, she also turned a 19th century church into a place to showcase that work. They also invite other artists wanting to display their work. Back to you.
Interesting stuff there. So the two aren't just creating art for themselves, it's also up for sale around town. We'll tell you where and how they're spreading their message coming up in our next half hour this morning.
The man accused of slaughtering a family in Washington, D.C. has been caught. Police say 34-year-old Darren Dillon Wint worked at American Iron Works, where Savopoulos was the CEO. Last week, the bodies of Savopoulos, his wife, son, and housekeeper were found inside their burned-out mansion. Investigators linked Wint to the crime through DNA found on a pizza crust left inside that home. They have not said why they think Wint would kill the family. And new details this morning about the 6 city cops charged in the death of Freddie Gray. They've been indicted. Gray died last month of a severe spinal injury he received while in police custody. The officers face charges ranging from second-degree murder to assault and reckless endangerment. Charges of false imprisonment were dropped. The officers will be arraigned July 2nd.
Why y'all hitting us?
3 police officers in Virginia are on administrative leave after video shows them beating a suspect during an arrest. The person who recorded that arrest says he saw 2 officers trying to handcuff Devondre Terrell McIntyre Sunday, while a 3rd officer delivered a series of knee strikes. Police say McIntyre had punched a bouncer and ran from officers when they arrived. They say he assaulted 2 of those officers, but the video doesn't show what happened before the arrest. Half a dozen police officers in that department have been taken off the streets in the past few days.
Time now is 5:08. Still to come here on KRQE. This morning, APD and the city of Albuquerque are both in the crosshairs of another lawsuit. This time, though, it's being filed by one of their own, the APD detective who was shot by his lieutenant during a botched drug buy. Detective Jacob Grant and Lieutenant Greg Brackle were undercover January 9th. Grant was in a drug suspect's car in a Northeast McDonald's parking lot buying meth when Brackle moved in, shot him 8 times. In a notice to file suit, Grant says Brackle should have seen who he was shooting and the suspects were cooperating, so force was not necessary. Grant's attorneys call his injuries catastrophic. In February, Grant's wife told us this.
He's got a long road to recovery, but every day gets a little bit stronger and takes baby steps forward.
APD only commented through a statement saying they take the claims very seriously and they're being reviewed by the legal department and the chief's office. How safe do you feel in Albuquerque? That's what a recent survey asked this morning. We have the numbers on crime rates in the city, and there's good and bad news. In the recently released report by APD, there were more than 30,500 property crimes in 2014. That's down by about 90 from the year before. Total violent crimes, though, were up by about 600. On average, police arrested 69 people every day, about 3 every single hour. You can read that full 63-page report along with Officer Grant's notice that he plans to sue the city on our KRQE News app. Happening today, Albuquerque Police is inviting you on a virtual ride-along. Chief Gordon Eden says the goal of Tweet from the Beat is to give citizens a realistic look at what police officers do every single day.
You get a really good look at what's happening within the city of Albuquerque and how our police department officers handle really some difficult situations every single day. I promise you, it's not what's on television, it's the reality of police work.
The 2 officers will be tweeting their entire day in the Northeast Command area of town. The tweets start around 7:30 this morning. That's in a couple of hours. You can follow along by following at ABQ Police or searching the hashtag Tweet from the Beat.
Coming up on 5:35 now, the Albuquerque man accused of snatching his 6-year-old daughter from church is locked up again. Abelino Lopez was arrested after authorities say he didn't show up to a court hearing. Lopez does not have custody of his daughter, Ariana, and police say he took her anyway earlier this month and hid her for more than a week. Ariana is now back home with her mother. On Wednesday, a judge allowed them to move out of state temporarily.
A teen is arrested for stalking 6 fellow high school students and creeping them out using the Slender Man character. You might remember him. Police say the boy would go up to girls and say, "You're next," and even dressed like the character. Slender Man's a fake online character. A pair of Wisconsin teens allegedly tried killing their friend to please that character. When police asked the teen why he did it, he simply told them it was just a game. So things get heated during a discussion between a county commissioner and a constituent. Listen.
When you tell me I've done something wrong, drop dead. I don't care what you think.
That's Otero County Commissioner Ronnie Reardon talking to John Turner during a commission meeting last week. Turner says he was there to read a statement about Reardon's policies he disagreed with. He thought Reardon wanted to fight him. Reardon says that's not the case.
Time now is 5:36. Listen to this. Those eggshells or potato skins that you're throwing away this morning. For two New Mexico women, that waste could be turned into art.
Yeah, the pair believe you can create art from just about anything. And as News 13's Catherine Mazzone found out, they're passing along their motto to the next generation. Good morning, Catherine.
Good morning, Crystal. Now, for these two women, repurposing their trash is not only a way to create art, it's a way of life. The pair don't let anything go to waste, using everything from cans and onion skins to make a statement.
Especially with the things that are decomposing, I find that they're very beautiful and grotesque at the same time, and I think that that is something that we embrace as artists.
Artist Michelle Corte-Lech and Autumn Pearson are firm believers you can find art in just about anything. It's subjective. Now the two are passing along their motto.
This wall is a series of wishing wells made collaboratively by community members and most recently the local charter high school students.
Teachers teamed up with the artists to help show the kids what the process is really like. But the students took away more than just a few tips. They also learned a thing or two about sustainability. Corte-Lech and Pearson are also gaining traction around town. Their art has become hot sellers at the growers and rail yards markets. Now you can also find the pair's art at what they've dubbed the church in Tijeras, but you'll need to make an appointment before you go. Back to you.
All right, thanks, Catherine. Sounds pretty cool, right? For more information about the church and the artists, just head to our KRQE News app.
The federal government is working with car makers this morning in that massive recall of defective airbags. Right now, car companies, they're still waiting for information from Takata. Airbags are being tested, but officials say it could be months before you get a notification, or you could get a notification from dealers. We do have recall information right now for you in this story. We're tracking it on the KRQE News app. Cleanup of a huge oil spill on the California coast is now going 24 hours per day. It's larger than anybody first thought, and it could take weeks. More than 100,000 gallons of oil leaked from a ruptured pipeline 9 miles off Santa Barbara. An oil slick is covering ocean life. The National Oceanic Atmospheric Administration is now assessing that damage.
Take a look at this, an incredible rescue caught on camera. A group of volunteers in Syria drilled, then dug through a pile of concrete to save this little baby. The baby became trapped after a bombing there. The group of volunteers is only known as the White Helmets. They've been putting their lives on the line to save people around Syria who've been caught right in the middle of all the violence that's happening there. It's not knowing really how the baby's doing this morning, but the 2-week-old was still alive and breathing when he was pulled from the rubble, as you can see right there. Unbelievable.
Good feeling for those people. Reality star Josh Duggar is apologizing this morning after reports that he touched young girls inappropriately when he was a teen. A police report obtained by a magazine doesn't reveal specifically who the victims are, but in a Facebook post, Duggar says he acted inexcusably and is sorry and deeply regrets his actions. Duggar is one of the family members on the show 19 Kids and Counting on TLC. He now has also resigned from his position at the Family Research Council, which lobbies against same-sex marriage and abortion.
And you really looked further into the story. Yeah. We were talking about this, where people may be questioning if he stayed in the house with all the other Duggar children, because there were several girls.
Yeah, part of the police report apparently does say that he was sent to training during this time, and that's very vague, but the family says he was actually sent with a personal family friend, and he did some work.
So he was
after
out of
this
the
happened.
home
Yeah.
after it happened.